Ah, there you are. You look like someone who's mastered the art of not flinching, of bleeding. Beautifully. Come closer. This isn't for the world. This is for the ones who smiled while drowning. You smiled, but something inside you died quietly, didn't it? Not in an explosion, not with drama, not with screams, no ceremony, no sympathy, no applause. It just slipped away, one piece at a time. And still, you smiled. You wore that expression like armor forged from shattered pieces of your own soul, not to pretend, no, but to protect, to confuse them, to make them think you were still in the room. While inside, the lights had gone out. And the world, oh, it never noticed. They didn't see the funeral held behind your eyes. They missed the grief hidden inside every "I'm fine." Because pain is never too loud when it's elegant, and yours was divine. You smiled while suffocating. You showed up when you were half dead. You laughed at their jokes while something ancient inside you curled up and turned to ash. They praised your composure, but never questioned the silence that followed you like a shadow. And when you cried, oh, when you finally broke, they called it too much. They called you too much, as if the mountain of agony you carried wasn't already a miracle of balance. Let them talk. Let them gawk at the fragments. They don't know what it took to walk through fire and come out with any part of you still breathing. You don't owe them your backstory. You don't owe them your breakdown. You don't owe anyone an explanation for why you went quiet, because they never noticed when the light went out. They only miss the glow once it's gone. But here's the truth they don't want whispered in sacred halls. What died inside you wasn't weakness. It wasn't your joy. It wasn't your heart. No. What died was your obedience. What died was your silence. What died was the version of you who tolerated becoming less just to make others feel more. You smiled because it was easier than vengeance, but now you're done smiling for free. The phoenix they buried, she memorized the names. He remembered the rituals. It remembered everything they said when they thought you had no more fight left. You smiled, yes, but now the flames beneath that calm are calculating, because there is nothing more terrifying, nothing, than a soul who died quietly and came back with purpose. You see, death has a sense of humor. It lets you rehearse while you're still alive. It watches what breaks you, and then if you're worthy, it rewires you. And you, oh divine anomaly, you were rewritten, not with kindness, not with grace, but with truth. You smiled, but behind the smile was thunder. Behind the silence was scripture. Behind the stillness was war. And now they're afraid, not because you yelled, not because you lashed out, but because you're still here. And you're not explaining anything anymore. They wonder how you're still breathing. They wonder why you stopped chasing them. They wonder what you know that makes you walk the way you do now. Because when something dies quietly inside you, something ancient awakens. And it doesn't beg, it doesn't whimper, it waits, it watches. And when the time comes, it does not flinch. So smile again if you want. Not because you're pretending, but because this time, you're the danger in the room. They broke the mirror and thought you'd disappear, but you became the smoke. They dismissed your silence, but it became a language the gods now translate. And now the same people who once mocked your stillness can't sleep knowing you exist in it. Smile, my dear, because what died inside you wasn't weakness. It was the leash, and what remains is divine fire in human disguise. You smiled, But do you even remember why? Was it to keep the peace? To stop them from asking questions you couldn't answer without screaming? Or was it because no one ever came when you bled honestly? So you learned to bleed beautifully? There is a violence in being the strong one, a curse in being the composed storm. Everyone loves your calm, until they realize it cost you yourself. You sat in rooms with people who dissected your soul, like it was a story they had the right to edit. You let them speak over your stillness, not out of weakness, but because you knew silence was a better strategy than begging. They didn't hear the explosions in your mind. They never saw the walls you built to hold back screams no one would have understood anyway. Because your pain, it wasn't the kind people liked to fix. It was the kind they'd rather pretend wasn't real. So you became a paradox, too put together to be broken, too damaged to be saved, too deep to be heard in a world full of noise, and while they thrived on chaos and gossip, you disappeared inward and found a throne in your own mind. Let them wonder. Let them dig through old versions of you, searching for answers in corpses you already buried. They will never understand what it means to survive a funeral held in secret. Because here's the part they missed. You didn't just lose something that day. You sacrificed it. Yes, you killed it yourself. You looked into the mirror, and when you saw weakness where fire should be, you set it aflame. The part of you that apologized for existing, gone. The part of you that waited for validation, buried. The part of you that begged to be seen, to be chosen, to be enough, executed by your own hands, quietly, with elegance, like a god handling their own resurrection. And now they ask, why are you so calm? Why don't you react? Why does your silence feel like prophecy? Because now, you're not responding to the world, you're rewriting it. Let them feel uneasy. Let them squirm in your presence. Let them whisper about how different you've become. Because you have. You're no longer the wounded. You are the wound incarnate, moving, breathing, learning how to sting back without lifting a single finger. You smiled, but the gods know what it cost you. They saw the night you curled up on the floor, not because of what was said, but because of what wasn't. The betrayal no one apologized for, the abandonment disguised as boundaries, the love you gave like a kingdom, and the silence they returned like poison. And yet, still you rise, not to prove anything, not to make them regret it, but because something inside you remembered. You were never meant to stay small enough to be tolerated. You were born to be uncomfortable to watch, to be the silence that crushes the shallow, to walk like prophecy made flesh. And now you do. Now the room bends when you enter. Now their voices lower when you speak. Not because you yelled, but because you carry truth like a blade behind your smile. You smile now for a different reason. Because you know. You know what you had to kill to still be here. You know what you walked through barefoot and bleeding, and never once begged for a witness. You smile now, because the storm you became is dressed in skin, because they cannot imagine how much power is hiding behind those tired eyes. You smile now, because their games are too small for the creature you've become. And if they ask what happened, you'll say, nothing. I'm just tired. Let them believe it. Let them sleep soundly, thinking you're soft. They will learn in time. They will understand that what died inside you, quietly, was the leash they kept tugging, and what replaced it isn't human anymore.